And we are live. Good evening, everyone. The Dow crashed 1,200 points today. Overall, for the week, the Dow is down 3,200 points. Currently, the S&P is sitting in correction territory. The S&P is down 10%. And the market tried to rebound in the middle of the day today. I think we were down about like 200 points at one point, and then Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, came out and said that they don't even have adequate testing kits to really test for the virus, and then the market just began to roll over. And I expect that we're going to see continued selling going into tomorrow because no one is going to want to be long the markets going into a Friday with the weekend, not knowing what's exactly going to happen with the spread of the virus and whether or not the virus can be contained here in the States. Now, the person who is the first person in California to contract the virus without being linked to anyone from China, it took them about 3 to 4 days to properly quarantine her and test her, even though she was showing symptoms because of the CDC's testing guidelines. And then also we're going to speak about why you want to be invested in alternative assets. I know some of you, you know why I always speak about this, but every now and then you get individuals who want to come on the video and they want to try to challenge what I'm saying. So I'm going to walk you through Bitcoin. What was it? Less than a month and a half ago was trading at $6,900 per coin. And then it spiked all the way up to about $10,300, depending on which exchange. And because we pulled back to 8,800, now all of a sudden Bitcoin is going to crash again. Guys, I've been investing now in the Bitcoin space for well over, 8 years. I've done seen this market go up, go down, go up, go down. I'm in this for the long haul. Right? When I'm investing in something, I'm not speculating on what the price is going to do in the next week. I'm not day trading Bitcoin, right? This is an investment that I plan on holding for the next 3 to 5 years. This is an investment. I'm not watching the day-to-day prices and trying to catch every tick up and down. I'm investing in this for the long haul. When I'm investing in gold and silver, I'm investing for the long term. I don't care about the day-to-day fluctuations. And I'm investing in those assets for days like today, where I don't get fearful. I'm not afraid because, number one, I'm not over leveraged, right? I'm investing money that I can afford to lose. And that's what all smart investors do. You should never invest. If you're afraid right now today, if you're fearful with your investments, if you're watching every tick, that means you have way too much money invested. I sometimes I don't even check what the price of Bitcoin is. I tuck my money away, set it and forget it, because I plan on holding this for the long term, and I'm going to explain to you why you should be doing that. Same thing with real estate. Like, I don't check how much my home is worth every day, right? Or how much my investment property is worth every day when I purchase investment properties. I care about the cash flow. That's what I care about. That's the most important thing. Now, as you come in, please, guys, make sure that you like this video. Please share the video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you want to contact me, my Instagram will be in the description below. Simply follow me on Instagram, send me a direct message, and then you and I could begin to dialogue and we can speak. If you want to support the stream financially, a link to my PayPal will be in both the chat and will be in the description. And real talk, I know you donated the other day. I started looking into the Virgin Galactic business model, and I really haven't been able to really put together a good, what's the word I'm looking for? I really don't have a good grasp on it yet, so I'm not going to just give you my opinion yet. But what I will do for you is I'm going to actually make you about a 5 or 10 minute video once I do a little bit more digging into what exactly they have going on there. So I promise you I will get that done probably tomorrow or Saturday. And with that being said, guys, let's get into the information. So the S&P for today was down 4.4%, down 137 points. The Nasdaq was down 4.6%, 414 points, and the Dow was down 1,191 points, which is basically 4.42%. The Nikkei is down 3.3%. That's 734 points. And the DAX was down 477 points. And the FTSE 100 was down 246 points. So let's look at silver. We're not seeing a lot of money flowing into precious metals right now. And again, guys, take a deep breath, right? Silver's not going to explode to $100 overnight. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that in a second. I want to look at the S&P 500 real quick, right? I want to show you something about investing. And this is why it's extremely important that you think. Back in October, look where the market was trading at, right? It was at 29.50. Look how slow the market went up. So in the market, right, in trading and investing, they have the analogy in a saying where markets take the steps up and they take the elevators down, right? They take the elevator down. So look at the market, slowly, nice, just stair-step fashion going up. Then you get a little pullback. Then the market goes up, goes up, goes up, moves sideways. It goes up, pull back, and then the market goes up. And then within a matter of 6 days, the market literally wiped out all of the gains from October, just like that. That's how quickly markets change. And it's important that you use your brain and you think a little bit, and you're not one of these people who you get, fearful and, over leverage yourself. Because see, someone is shorting this market. Someone has puts in this market. Someone's selling premium and options right now. They're making big bank. But look how quickly markets can explode to the downside. And just like that, you are holding, stocks in your portfolio. The market's moving up, is grinding up, and then boom, just like that in 6 days, wipes out all your gains, just like that. So looking at gold right now, let's take a look at gold. Gold is sitting at $1,643 an ounce. Silver is trading at $17.48 per ounce. And if we look at oil, look at this. This is just crazy right here. Oil's down about, I think, 15% overall for the year. Oil's just getting crushed. We're sitting right now at $46.36 per barrel. So we're seeing a lot of selling happening in the market right now. So again, I'm not saying this to be fearful, just getting you to understand where we are and what's going on. So with that being said, now let's get into what's happening with the virus right now. We can see that there are throughout the world total cases, 83,398 cases. Total deaths, there's 2,858 total deaths. We can look at the mainland China. And again, remember, guys, I don't believe any of these numbers. We know that China's a communist dictatorship. We know how the country operates, but they're saying that there's 78,000 cases and there's 2,788 deaths. We look at Iran, we're seeing cases begin to move up. We're seeing deaths move up. We're looking at Italy right now. Italy has 655 cases and 17 deaths. Here in the U.S., we only have 60 cases and 0 deaths. So now I want to begin to start to share some information with you because this is important, right? This is what caused the market to drop, and you need to listen to what she has to say. I'm only going to play about a minute and a half of what she's speaking about, and then we're going to get into the articles. But basically what's happening is many of the states, they don't even have enough testing kits to properly be able to test for the virus. And this lady right here is going to break that down, and then we're going to get into the presentation. So here we go. Hold on real quick. I always do this. Let's turn this off. Let's turn this on, and let's click play.
Well, it's deeply concerning. We already knew earlier this week that in other countries there was evidence of community transmission, meaning that it's not just people traveling to the epicenter who brought back the virus, but that person-to-person transmission was happening in the community. And now it seems like this has happened in the US. And I'm very concerned because we don't have enough testing kits. And because coronavirus can be found in people with mild symptoms like a cold, or even no symptoms at all, it's very likely that there are a lot more people in the US who have coronavirus, but we're just not testing for it, and they're spreading it to other people.
Why don't we have enough tests?
Well, I don't know. We'll have to get the answers from our federal government. It seems like there was some problem with a reagent, and but the problem is that even if these tests are now being shipped out, we still have to get these tests to be done at point of care, meaning that they have to be done in the hospital at bedside. The results have to be available really quickly. Right now, the confirmation text, the test takes 48 hours. It has to be mailed into the CDC. And we just don't have that kind of time. If somebody is suspected to have COVID-19, we need to find out right now so we can start quarantining that person or isolating that person. We can start tracing their contacts. And
So basically, what she is saying is that right now, because they don't have the adequate testing kits in most states, especially in California, there can be multiple people right now walking around with this virus, and they're showing mild to no symptoms, and they haven't had any contact with anyone from China. But I'm going to get into the article in a second. If this turns out to be true, this is why I keep stressing to you guys about being prepared, not about fear mongering, not trying to scare you and tell you that the world is going to end. Currently, right now, it's still listed as an epidemic. But if you see sustained spread on multiple continents, that's when it will be upgraded to a pandemic. But the CDC is basically saying you should expect it to turn into a pandemic. And this is why it's important that you have a hand sanitizer, you have Lysol wipes, you are drinking water and staying hydrated. And you're also not just listening to what people are saying on the internet trying to sensationalize this or trying to fearmonger, but just understanding that many of these states are not prepared to deal with something like this. And that's just the reality. Now, this article is really, really important. And let me zoom in a little bit because this is going to highlight if this is true. I don't care if you are Republican or Democrat. If the Trump administration purposely withheld the testing kits to make it seem like the virus wasn't spreading, that's gross incompetence to the highest degree. And he should be held accountable for that, or his administration should be held accountable. So it says, California governor rattles stocks. A state with 40 million residents has just 200 virus test kits from the CDC. I want you to think about that. They only have 200 coronavirus test kits from the CDC in a state with 40 million residents. When you think about that, that's just mind-blowing. It says the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down by 960 points this morning, and then it began to stage a strong rally. That rally unraveled on news that came out of the press conference held by California Governor Gavin Newsom. As I said to you earlier, the market was beginning to rally. People were buying up the market, and once this news came out, the high frequency traders, the algorithms were turned on, and the market just began to tank. And it was sustained selling all day long. They were just hitting bids, taking the market down. It says, what did become quite clear, however, as reporters drilled down to the situation on the ground in California, is that the state has taken in 800 repatriated Americans from countries with coronavirus outbreaks, has received thousands more passengers on domestic flights from suspect countries, while it currently has just 200 test kits from the CDC to test for the virus. Newsom told reporters that it's simply inadequate to do justice to the kind of testing that is required to address this issue head on. When you start thinking about that, they said that they've taken in 800 repatriated Americans from countries with coronavirus outbreaks and has received thousands more passengers on domestic flights from suspect countries. And they only have 200 testing kits. So it's safe to assume at this point, once the market heard that, wait, there's more than just one person in California right now walking around with the virus. Now, remember, if we go back to Tuesday night when we were doing the stream and they announced they declared a state of emergency in San Francisco, what's the first thing I said? You don't declare a state of an emergency if everything is fine. You declare a state of emergency when you know for a fact or with a high degree of certainty that wait, hold on, something else is going on here. And that's exactly what we're beginning to see. And this is why I'm not saying not to trust the news and the media, but approach information with a level head and then start to use common sense, which is why I named my channel, What Happened to Common Sense? In exchanges with reporters, the governor indicated that California is not alone in terms of gross inadequacy of test kits. He said other states have the same problem. So now think about this. There could be people walking around in Minnesota right now. There could be people in Texas right now, here in New York right now, walking around with the coronavirus because it's similar to the flu. So they could potentially be sick and not even know it, because if you go to the hospital, most of the hospitals don't even have the proper testing kits to test the people. So this is something that you really, really have to begin to start taking seriously and making sure you are prepared. Even more alarming, the governor made it clear that the protocol established by the CDC for when states could test a patient for the virus was so limited that it restricted his state and other states for testing a large number of patients. In President Donald Trump's press conference on the coronavirus last evening, the president emphasized the low number of people in the United States that had tested positive for the virus, attributing it to the outstanding work of his administration. If it now turns out that that number of infected people in the U.S. has been artificially depressed because the CDC was not providing test kits to the states, Congress will be launching a wave of new hearings to see if undue pressure was put on the CDC by the Trump administration. I want you to think about that. That is extremely important. When Trump is saying that cases remain low, yeah, obviously cases are going to be low if there's only 200 testing kits in the state of California. Obviously, you're not going to have a lot of people reporting positive if most of the states don't have adequate amounts of testing, or because of the CDC restrictions, basically you either have to have direct contact with mainland China or someone who's traveled from mainland China. Well, that's not a good criteria for testing, because the lady now in California who tested positive, she had no contact with anyone from China. This was a community transmission of the virus. It says the press conference was held as a result of news that went viral Wednesday that a woman from Solano County who is currently hospitalized at the UC Davis Medical Center in Sacramento had tested positive for coronavirus despite having no known ties to travel outside of the U.S. This raised the alarming possibility that the virus may be present from sources inside the United States. The woman was previously treated at North Bay Vacca Valley Hospital in Vacaville. When asked by a reporter if that hospital is still accepting patients, the government said he believed it was. Think about this for a second now. So now this lady went to the hospital and potentially could have infected people there because they didn't have the proper testing to test her. So now, because of that, Newsom indicated that the state is monitoring 8,400 people who have traveled to California from foreign countries which have experienced outbreaks of the coronavirus. And they're potentially now quarantining that hospital and the people there because they came into contact with this woman, but they couldn't test her because they didn't have adequate testing kits. Thank you for the donation, Castle Dragon 78. When will people panic and start hoarding supplies? Who knows? But here's what I will tell you, Castle Dragon. Do you want to be one of those people, based upon the videos I showed you guys the other day, waiting on those long lines? Because think about it. If this is spread through human contact, the last place I want to be is on a line at a grocery store. The last place I want to be is fighting with people in grocery stores for the last case of water or toilet paper. I want to make sure right now that I'm stocking up on supplies. What's the worst that can happen if you have some extra cases of water? What's the worst that can happen if you have some hand sanitizer? What's the worst that can happen if you have these things? You don't have to be fearful, but remember, preparedness is important, right? Because if you fail to prepare, then prepare to fail. So, going back to what this lady is saying, this is important that she's highlighting this, because if this turns out to be true, that the Trump administration purposely withheld that information or withheld the testing kits so that they can keep the numbers low, that's That's gross levels of incompetence to the highest degree. And I hope that that's not true. And I'm not saying it is true. We know that with the fake news and with the media, they politicize everything. Again, I'm putting this information out there so that you can begin to start thinking about things, right? I want you to really start thinking about this. Now, it says, this is important, guys, because if you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together, you can say, it says coronavirus patient in California was not tested for days. So that means she was walking around and touching people and talking to people for days before she was tested. It says doctors suspected infection with the virus, but the patient did not fit the federal criteria for testing. A California coronavirus patient had to wait days to be tested because of restrictive federal criteria, which include travel to China or contact with someone known to be infected. CDC officials said it was possible the patient was exposed to a returning traveler who was infected. At the moment, however, the new case appears to be one in which the source of infection is unknown, suggesting that the virus may be spreading within the community. I'm going to skip that part right here. Now it says, doctors at University of California, Davis Medical Center considered the novel pathogen a possible diagnosis when the patient was first admitted last week, but the federal agency that conducts the testing did not administer the test until days later because the case did not fit the agency's narrow testing criteria, university officials said in a letter to the campus community late Wednesday. So now remember, we're in the middle of flu season. See, I want to paint a scenario for you. Think about how many people are going into the hospital right now. They're showing flu-like symptoms. The doctor's probably prescribing them, giving them some type of fluid, some type of IVs, and then sending them home. And because they don't have the testing, they're sending potentially infected people with the coronavirus back home, back into your communities that could potentially infect you. So this is why it's important that you understand this. This is important that you start thinking about this. Now, remember, I'm an anti-vax person. I'm not one of these people who vaccine. I'm just trying to get you to start thinking about things and putting things into your mind as to how this can spread and spread pretty quickly and how there can be sick people already walking around that you just don't even know about. So that takes care of that. Now, okay. It says California is monitoring at least 8,400 people for the coronavirus. Guys, they're not monitoring 8,400 people for no reason. They're monitoring these people because potentially these people could be sick and they could have it. Right? Let's just be real about that. You're not monitoring these people just because. And if these people are sick, they're already showing us that they don't have the adequate testing. So this is going to be a problem. And this is why the market started selling off. And you can expect more selling tomorrow because no one's going to want to be long any positions going into a weekend, not knowing what news can come out over the weekend. It says California Governor Gavin Newsom said Thursday that 33 people have tested positive for COVID-19. That's just the new name that they gave the coronavirus. And the state is currently monitoring at least 8,400 people a day after U.S. health officials confirmed the first possible community transmission. 1 second. A day after, we took it out. This is a fluid situation right now, and I want to emphasize the risk to all. This is a fluid situation right now, and I want to emphasize the risk to the American public remains low, said Dr. Sonia Y., Angel, California Department of Public Health Director and state health official during the press conference. There have been a limited number of confirmed cases to date. Okay, so that's what they're saying right now. Give me 1 second. Let me take a drink of water. My mouth is starting to get dry. I had another article that I really wanted to highlight, and I don't think I have it anymore. I think I missed it. So, give me 1 second. Let me take a sip of water. Now, I don't claim to be an expert when it comes to infectious diseases. This is why I defer to people who are experts. And this lady right here, Helen Branswell, I recommend that you go and follow her on Twitter. As you can see with her her bio on Twitter. She's the senior writer for infectious diseases at Stat News. She says, conspiracy theory free zone. I like that. The reason why I like that is because right now what you're going to begin to see is you're going to see a lot of people who are going to try to sensationalize this, and they're going to try to bait you in with fear and fearmonger and get you scared and, you know, try to sell this to you as it's going to be the end of the world, and it's not going to be the end of the world. Is this serious? Absolutely. Am I saying that you should just listen to everything she has to say? No. I like to approach information from a balanced perspective. And then I allow my own common sense and logic and reasoning to decipher and put information together. But as of right now, you can clearly see that your government, especially on a federal level, is not responding to this based upon the reporting that we've seen so far as they should. And that's just the reality. Now, what we're beginning to see in China, which this can also turn out to end up being a problem, is that Starbucks reopens China cafes after temporary closure due to coronavirus. Because China is a communist country, Xi Jinping can come out today and say he doesn't care if you're going to get sick. You have to go back to work, because this is beginning to it's beginning to affect China drastically and dramatically as far as the economy is concerned. So they're forcing people to go back to work over there, which is not a good thing if you ask me, because even if you're starting to see the cases level off, by forcing people back to work is going to potentially make them or risk them of getting reinfected. Also, guys, there's 195 of you people watching the live stream right now. Please like the video. It helps the content get out there so more and more people can see this. It says Starbucks has reopened most of its cafes in China after temporarily closing them to stop the spread of the COVID-19 outbreak. CEO Kevin Johnson wrote in a letter to employees on Thursday that the company has 85% of its stores open across China, including its reserve roastery in Shanghai. Starbucks has roughly 4,300 cafes in the Asian country, which is the second largest market. That goes back to what I was saying to you before. You have to understand that China is the second largest economy in the world. So there's a lot of pressure politically to get these businesses open again so that people can start making money. And basically what they're saying is that they're willing to put profits over people. This is not something that you should be doing. You should not be forcing people to go back to work right now. This is probably one of the worst things that you can do right now by sending people back to work. Like, this just means you don't care about people and you're just basically, hey, listen, who cares if you get reinfected? And this right here is a picture of people going back to work. As you can see, this is the highways and people are going back to work. Now, this is potentially opening up people to being reinfected. But again, we know that when it comes to money, they don't care about what happens to people. All they care about is money. And when you start looking at, I put this up the other day, it says Disney could take a $280 million hit from its Chinese parks because of the coronavirus and protests. And so you have to start really putting things into perspective. Prior to the coronavirus breakdown, we had the protests in Hong Kong. And then we also had the trade war going on. So you combine that with the coronavirus, they're like, listen, man, we need you to go back to work, which is going to be a problem. It says Disney has warned that profits from its parks in China could drop by $280 million in the current quarter due to shutdowns caused by the coronavirus and loss of business related to recent mass protests in Hong Kong. Now you also have to think about the fact of, right here, the China box office sales dropped from 1.5 million to 3.9 million amid the coronavirus panic. Now you also have to start thinking about, well, what does that mean as far as shipping goods over here? See, we know that the virus can live on the surface. So now if China is forcing people to go back to work, are they going to start shipping contaminated goods over here to the States? Which is why you, as a free-thinking person, a three-dimensional thinker, you have to say to yourself, I need to be very selective as to what goods and services I purchase that's directly linked to China. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to be out here consuming goods that can potentially be contaminated and risk getting myself sick. Because what they're basically telling you is that they don't care. They want to make money, and they don't care if people get sick, and they don't care if they're going to reopen factories. So let's just read a couple of passages real quick. It says, top line, the coronavirus outbreak has ground China's film industry to a halt, with theaters sitting empty and production paused, causing box office losses of at least 1.5 billion so far in 2020, when the country instead expected to surpass the United States this year in terms of box office sales. Also, Goldman Sachs basically came out and said for the year, they're expecting no growth as far as earnings is concerned for corporations. And they're already taking down their GDP forecasts for the first quarter. I think they knocked it down by like 0.5%, 0.25%. I think is going to be much, much worse than that, because what I believe we're going to see is we're going to see like a W formation, where we're going to see like a spike up. Matter of fact, an M, a spike up, then you're going to see the cases come down, then you're going to see another spike up, and then you're going to see cases come down, because basically what they're saying is that they're going to force people to have to go out there or try to downplay the impact that this is actually going to have on the overall economy. And even in California right now, we're beginning to see Microsoft and Facebook get rid of certain conferences or postpone them to a later date. It says Microsoft GameStack said in a tweet that the decision comes after a close review of guidance by global health authorities and out of an abundance of caution, while Epic said that uncertainty around health concerns has made it unviable to send employees to the event. Facebook followed suit, announcing that it was canceling its annual F8 developer conference in San Jose. So again, this is all affecting economic activity. Given the growing concerns around COVID-19, we've made the difficult decision to cancel the in-person component of F8 2020. The company said in a statement, this was a tough call to make. F8 is an incredibly important event for Facebook, and it's one of our favorite ways to celebrate all of you from around the world. But we need to prioritize the health and safety of our developer partners, employees, and everyone who helps put F8 on. Again, like I said, guys, this type of stuff is important, and I want to highlight this. For those of you who've ever read the book 1984 by George Orwell, they talk about and they speak about doublespeak in the book. And it's important that you understand this, because when you read these articles, you can see it happening right now. Listen to how this reads. Officials have stressed that the number of cases in California remain low, and there are no signs of an outbreak. But health agencies said they are preparing for more cases as the virus spreads. So on one end, they say, oh, cases remain low, and there's no signs of an outbreak. But then in the very next sentence, they say, but they are preparing for more cases as the virus spreads. So which one is it? Is it that cases are low and they have it contained, or are they expecting it to spread? See, this is known as doublespeak. You have to be able to read between the lines. And I encourage you to go and read that book, 1984 by George Orwell, because if you actually can read between this, you can say to yourself, this is much worse than they're leading on. They're not going to give you the full story, which is why you have to be a three-dimensional thinker. Not too fearful and not too greedy. Walk that tight line, right? Worst case scenario, I'm prepared for the worst that happens. If the worst case happens, I'm prepared. If it never happens, I just don't have to go grocery shopping for another week or two. That's all, right? If I have an extra week or two of supplies and nothing happens, hey, I'm good. I don't have to go grocery shopping for another week or two. But if something does happen, I don't have to risk being on lines and being in crowds and groups of people, risking myself potentially being infected. That's what you have to think about. And that's the most important thing that I take away from this. Now, let's get to, talking about some good old cryptocurrency and alternative investments such as Bitcoin and just being out of the traditional financial system. Guys, when you look at what's happening economically, politically, socially, This pandemic or epidemic right now that we're facing is just the tip of the iceberg. I want you to start thinking about Social Security being insolvent. I want you to start thinking about the changing demographics where we're going to start to see millions of baby boomers retiring. What type of pressure is that going to put on public pension plans? These people have been promised retirement that these states can't give them. I want you to start thinking about climate change and what that's going to do for future pandemics. I want you to start thinking about income inequality and growing social unrest. I really want you to start putting these things into perspective when you think about political instability, thinking about debt monetization, running a $23 trillion national debt. Right? The deficit's $23 trillion, the debt, the total debt for the United States. Think about Iran. Think about nuclear war. What do you think that this is going to do for alternative assets such as gold and silver, alternative assets such as crypto, that's outside of the traditional monetary system? This is why you want to be outside of the system, because there's just too many threats. And when you look at this market and you see how quick this market can roll over, guys, in a matter of 6 days, it wiped out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of gains got wiped out in a matter of 6 days. So when I hear people talking to me about Bitcoin, because Bitcoin went from 10,500 down to 8,800, somehow it's crashing. We're talking about an asset that only has a market cap of $160 billion. We're looking at Ethereum. It has a market cap of $25 billion. The stock market wiped out close to $2 trillion in a matter of days. Do you understand what I'm saying to you about the risk? The risk that the bubble is here. The bubble is in the pension plans. The bubble is in real estate. The bubble is in the stock market. The bubble is in treasuries. The bubble is in government debt. So when people come on this video and tell me, oh, crypto's going to crash, it's a bubble. What, it's $160 billion? And you call that a bubble? $160 billion is nowhere near a bubble. I just told you, in a matter of 6 days, they wiped out close to $2 trillion like that. Boom. So all these people who are talking about the stock market, Trump, the stock market, in 6 days, your money could be gone just like that. So all of you people who was touting Trump is good for the economy, look at your stock market, look at your 401ks. Well, look at your 401ks. Boom. Just like that is going down. Just like that. Wiped out. See, when I invest, I'm not investing in what Bitcoin and Ethereum and Tezos and nulls and all these different projects and protocols that I'm not investing in what they are today and what they can do. I'm investing in what they can become. This is this is a baby right now. Bitcoin's only 11 years old. This is a baby. You don't invest in something because it's matured. You invest in things because you believe that in the future that is going to turn into something. You don't buy Tesla 5 years ago because they're a profitable company. You buy Tesla because you said to yourself, what if Tesla can capture X% of the car market, the global car market? What does that do to the value? That's how I think when I invest. And I'm holding this for the next 3 to 5 years. I don't care about this. And I'm going to show you Bitcoin has crashed over 80% more than 4 times. And I'm going to show you that right now. And guess what I do when it goes down? I buy more because it's on sale. So give me 1 second. Let me pull up. I want to show you something. Because see, I don't believe in just talking. I like to actually show you guys things so that you can see where I'm coming from. So I want to go, what color do I want to go with? Red's not bad. So let's flip over to the iPad real quick. Flip this over to the iPad. So I want you to visually see the different crashes that Bitcoin has went through over the time, right? Back in 2012, Bitcoin went from $7 down to $3.80. You know what everyone said? See, I told you it was a scam. Take your money out of it. Don't put your money in that thing. That thing's a scam. It's going to crash. And then guess what happened? In 2012, Bitcoin rallied all the way up to $16.41. So if you let someone shake you out and told you that Bitcoin was a scam at $3.80, you missed that. You missed out on that entire move up to $16.41. That's what you did because you listened to some guy on the internet tell you it was a scam. And then it crashed 57%. It crashed from $16.41 down to $7.10. And you know what everyone said? See, supply and demand. Look at China. Mining is centralized in China. Bitcoin's not decentralized. Get out of it. And then, you know what it did? It went from $7.10 in 2012, and it went up to $49.17 in 2013. And then it crashed 33%. And it went down to $33. And then you know what it did? It went from $33 up to $76.91. And you know what everyone said? Oh, it's overvalued. You got to look at supply and demand. It's a scam. You know, it's being pumped up by South Korea. It's being pumped up by the Asians. Oh, Tether's pumping it. That's what's happening. Oh, it's the whales manipulating the price. And then Bitcoin went from $76 and it crashed down to $50. And then you know what it did? It went from $50 to $259. And then it crashed to $45. And then it went to $755. And then it crashed to $378. Do you see the pattern here? Do you see a pattern developing here? Because the market cap is tiny. You're talking about an asset. Do you understand that when you look at the market cap of PayPal, the market cap of PayPal is $130 billion. One company almost has a bigger market cap than the entire market cap of Bitcoin. We're talking about a global asset. Do you understand that the gold market cap, the global market cap for gold is $8 trillion? What if Bitcoin captures 10% of the gold market? What if Bitcoin captures 10% of the gold market? The gold market is $8 trillion globally. That's $800 billion. What does that do to the price of Bitcoin? What does that do to the price of Ethereum? See, this is the investment opportunity that you have, not for what it is today. Yes, Bitcoin is slow. It cannot do a lot of transactions per second. We know that. We know that, guys. We know we've heard that over and over and over again, right? It's slow. It's clunky. A lot of people don't use it. It's a base layer protocol. When you look at Ethereum, yeah, we know Vitalik. It's centralized because of Vitalik. Yeah, we know. Yeah, Cardano hasn't built anything yet. We know. But what happens when things start getting built on top of it? What happens when the next dApp is built on top of Ethereum? What happens when DeFi becomes a main thing? And these are not things that I'm saying I believe in or don't believe in. I'm trying to get you to imagine. That's what investing is about. You have to have foresight. Because if I came to you 25 years ago and I said to you that you are going to feel comfortable putting your 14 or 15-year-old daughter into a car with a strange man, and that was going to be the new form of taxis, you would have called me crazy. But now we have an app called Uber, and people get inside of a car with strangers every day and spend $8 or $12 to get a car ride like it's nothing. Because someone had foresight. See, you couldn't see it then because the infrastructure wasn't built yet. If I showed you the internet 30 years ago, you would have said to me, no one's going to want to, I'm not going to put my credit card on a website and go buy stuff. If I said to you that most strip malls would disappear by the year 2020, you would have said I was crazy. You would have laughed at me. Now, every time you turn around and you look around, you see strip malls closing down. You see Forever 21 filing bankruptcy because people will rather shop online than go and shop and spend money online. They don't have to try on the dress or the shirt anymore. That's the power of the internet. But someone had foresight to see that. You have to see the unseen. Foresight, vision, being able to see into the future. Seeing the SMT protocol for what it was then to what it could become, which is known to you as email now. You have to see that. Seeing what the TCP and the IP layer could be. There were people who had that vision, but obviously the infrastructure has to be built. So when you see these booms and busts happening, when you see Bitcoin crash from $1,163 down to $152, that's an 87% crash. You know what everyone said in 2013 and in 2015? Oh, see, look, I told you it was a scam. I told you that Bitcoin thing wouldn't work. And you know what people like me did? Buy more. Dollar cost average. Because I believe in the technology long term. I'm not buying this to day trade it and swing trade it. I'm buying this because I believe that this is going to be the internet 2.0. That's what I believe. And I'm intelligent enough. Like, look, like Dwayne Winter said, however, the superpowers that be money make money on their currency. This has nothing to do with the government. This is a decentralized piece of technology. This is outside of any government. This is technology that just can't be stopped. And when you understand, you have, forget the petrodollar, because anyone who's looking at the market can see everyone's moving away from fossil fuels anyway. So that whole petrodollar conspiracy means nothing, because you already see people moving away from it as we speak with green technology and climate change. So that whole idea of the petrodollar and the military means nothing. These countries are broke. These pandemics and climate change and all these different things are going to bring these countries to their knees. What I'm telling you is that you have the ability. People have been saying this for years now. Look, Bitcoin crash, 1,350 down to here. Now the latest crash we had, 19,666 all the way down to 3,538. Now this person says qubits. He's talking about the supercomputers. Those computers don't even exist right now. And they're not going to exist. And all you have to do is just change the hashing algorithm. That's all you have to do. Bitcoin is technology. So even if you create the supercomputer, Bitcoin can just change his hashing algorithm and upgrade the software because it's a protocol. So when people talk to me about, supercomputers that can break SHA-256, then you just upgrade your hashing algorithm. That's all you have to do. Now think about it. You think that someone's going to make a supercomputer? If you just use your brain. I'm going to spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, to design a supercomputer to break $160 billion market cap crypto? Or am I going to design that to actually go after countries, banks, nation states? Now also understand that it's extremely hard for it to even scale. You think Bitcoin has trouble scaling. You know how hard it is to scale? You know how hard it is to scale those supercomputers? You know how hard it is for that? But see, that's how I know people don't know the technology. They're just quoting things that they've heard someone else say. Because if you actually study the technology, you would understand that it's extremely hard to even scale that type of technology to be able to do a broad-based attack like that. So that doesn't even make any sense. But I want to flip this around, right? So get back to my presentation. I don't want to get lost in the chat because I'll get lost, right? So as I was saying to you before, it says gold's global market cap currently sits at around $8 trillion. Last year at this time, the precious metals capitalization sat closer to $7 trillion, as fiat paper worldwide continues to be devalued by governments and their reckless economic policies. Many gold bugs see the upward trend continuing, and they might be right. What if Bitcoin captures just 10% of that? Just 10%. Just 10%. So I don't care about quantum computers and these supercomputers that people talk about, because you can just upgrade the software. But I don't want to get into that because that would take too long. That would throw me off a loop. Think about global pensions. Right? The top 300 pensions have $18 trillion under management. 18. What if Bitcoin or cryptocurrency can capture 10% of that? That's $1.8 trillion. This is the value opportunity that you have right now. You have an asset that's undervalued. Undervalued. Pendulum. You constantly hear me talk about that, about investing in things that are undervalued. So Bitcoin went from just, what was it? December 19th, we were sitting at $6,400. We go from $6,400 to $10,500 and we get a pullback and everyone says, oh my God, it's crashing. It's crashing. We go from 6,500 up to 10,500 and now we pull back to 8,800 and it's crashing. You have to laugh at the stuff that you see. Now, yes, we know right now that Bitcoin has a lot of infrastructure to build. We know that. We know most of these crypto projects, they haven't even really launched their main nets. We get all that. That's the potential that you have in front of you to invest. Look at Tim Draper. Billionaire Tim Draper admits moving stock portfolio to Bitcoin. I want you to think about that. Billionaire investor Tim Draper. So am I going to listen to a person that doesn't know about the technology, or am I just going to simply follow the money? I done showed you all of the different crashes that Bitcoin has had over the 11 years. It says renowned billionaire venture capitalist Tim Draper has revealed how he came out of the stock market 6 months ago to switch his holdings to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Why? Because we know the stock market is grossly overvalued. We know that the Fed is injecting billions and billions of dollars every month of liquidity into the market. That means they're printing money out of thin air. Tim Draper sees the demographics that are changing with the boomers having to retire. He can see Social Security is bankrupt, climate change, pandemics, income inequality, political instability, right? And what's going to be the Fed's response to this? You know what the Fed's going to do? You know what the Fed's going to do? Debt monetization and print more money and print more money and print more money and print more money. That's what he's going to do. Print more money. That's what he's going to do. The Fed is going to continue to keep printing money to monetize this. What are they going to do with the debt? The $23 trillion in debt. We know this already. After describing the stock market as lofty, Draper stated that Bitcoin had become a safe haven amidst global market turmoil from the coronavirus outbreak. I'm still holding to my prediction. I think Bitcoin in 2022 or beginning of 2023 will hit $250,000. I think the reason is that Bitcoin will be the currency of choice, he told CNBC. When asked how much of his net worth was in Bitcoin, Draper replied, I don't disclose that kind of information, but a lot of it is. And you know what? A lot of mine is too. A lot of mine is too. Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett recently detailed how he would never invest in cryptocurrencies as they aren't based on anything, an opinion that Draper describes as hilarious. So when I see Daniel Hodges talk about imagine a quantum blockchain, I say he's hilarious. It's hilarious to me. When I see people critique Bitcoin, I know that they haven't taken out the time to really study the technology, and they're just parroting what they've heard other people say, because they're not talking to you from a technical standpoint. They're just not. It says, that's hilarious, he added. 50% of his holdings are banks and insurance companies. They are not going to do well in a new decentralized economy. Of course, he's not going to like it. He sees a huge threat to his holdings. I wouldn't hold a bank or insurance company now, even if you paid me. They are not in good shape. So understand that when you see these attacks on Bitcoin, you have to be sophisticated. When you see these attacks on crypto, you have to be sophisticated and understand that this has the potential to change the world and destabilize governments and topple governments and take out the banking industry. You think that they're not going to create fake narratives and false narratives to attack this piece of technology? Of course they are. Of course they are. Now, a lot of you, we were speaking to you the other day. I was talking to you about credit default swaps, CDOs, different derivatives that's in the banking system. And a lot of you were kind of confused about that. This is a really good movie that talks to you. It's really important that you take the time out and you actually educate yourself on the severity of what happened in 2008. Go and watch The Big Short. Go and watch this movie, The Big Short. Because when you go and study this, and you'll see the problem with the banks. I already spoke to you about fractional reserve lending, about how these banks can create money out of thin air. I spoke to you about how it creates the boom and bust cycle. This movie really breaks that down down for you in a simple fashion where you can actually understand it, and it won't confuse you. Give me 1 second. Let me take a sip of water. I really want you to go out and educate yourself about this, because if you do that, you will have a much better understanding as to what the problems are and how they're going to keep reoccurring over and over and over again. You're not going to see any relief from these problems. And a few of you have reached out to me and you wanted to know about different books that you can read. Give me 1 second. And I would encourage you to go out and get the Bitcoin Standard. It's a really, really good book. For those of you who are beginners and you just want to kind of understand the technology, understand what it can do, guys, you're not going to get this in one day. Many of you don't even understand how traditional banking works. Many of you don't even understand where your money comes from and how money works now. But you use it every day, right? And that's the same thing that you have to understand with Bitcoin. You're not going to understand cryptocurrency and cryptography in one day, right? This is computer science. This is high levels of computer science. I, to this day, learn new things about different cryptocurrency projects every day. I myself, every day learn different stuff about different cryptocurrency projects, etc. So go and pick this book up. It's a really, really good book, and it will give you a firm understanding about Bitcoin and why it's important to you. Also, The Internet of Money. This is a really, really good book that I would encourage you to go and read as well. And this is by Andreas Antonopoulos. He is one of the people he's extremely, extremely knowledgeable in the cryptocurrency space. I would really, really greatly encourage you to go out and read these books. And you can see these books are extremely affordable. They're not expensive books at all to go out and get. And you can really educate yourself. And you can even find some free copies on the internet if you look for it. So I would definitely encourage you to do that, to get some basic understanding. And I plan on taking the time out in the future and putting together some resources for a lot of you guys who are interested in this. But just understand, this is new technology, guys. For those of us who's been around, we've seen this time and time again. I don't get scared when I see drops in cryptocurrency. Like I just showed you, these are all of the crashes that we've seen. All of the crashes. You can go look this stuff up on your own. That's how markets move. They go up and they go down. You can see right here with the S&P. Market went up and the market came down. And guess what's going to happen? Once this takes care of itself, the market's going to go back up. Which is why you have to know why you're owning something, and rather than trying to be a trader, because most of you are not going to be able to be a trader, right? Most of you are just not going to be good traders. Most people aren't born to trade, right? So it pushes up, it pushes up, it pushes up, and then boom, you get a sell-off, and the market's going to come back. Now, when it comes back, none of us truly knows, right? We just don't know, but that is how markets move. They go up and they go down. And they go up and they go down. If the US and China solves this problem, you're going to see the market come back. I don't believe it is. I believe that this is going to have lingering effects. I believe that this is definitely going to dampen the growth of the economy, and I believe it's going to affect the presidential elections coming up. And the last thing I want to show you is this right here, right? Bitcoin is 2019's best performing asset after the recent price downturn, right? It says investors would be hard pressed to name a better performing asset class so far in 2019 than Bitcoin. Gold up 17% since December 31st. Stocks, the Standard & Poor's 500 index returned 21% through September 30th. Bonds, 10-year U.S. Treasuries, bonds is yielding just 1.6%, close to historic lows. And Bitcoin, prices for the currency finished the third quarter around $8,308 each, according to data provider Messari, up 114% on the year. Investors who bought on the last day of 2018 would have doubled their money and then some. This is the value opportunity that you have. Yes, China makes up a large majority of owners, of people who own Bitcoin or people who mine Bitcoin. Absolutely. And because they're going through what they're going through now, a lot of them are probably having to shut down their mining operations, or they're probably having to liquidate some of their Bitcoin for cash or whatever the case may be. And guess what's going to happen? If they take mining capacity off the market, well, then somebody's going to step in and fill that void. That's just how markets operate, right? Supply and demand. Okay, you sell your BTC, there are people like me that's going to buy it. That's how I look at things. Now, the next thing I want to give you guys, because I believe in giving you guys solutions, right? I believe in giving you guys solutions all the time. I'm not one of these people who I want to just come on here and constantly just talk about problems. And I know some of you may not have any money. So I like to approach things and give you things that you can take away from this and do something with. And there's 214 of you guys watching this. Please hit the like button. It helps the content rank in the search engines. Right here, you can go and learn Google IT Support Professional Certificate. You can enroll for free. And it starts actually today, right? The Launchpad to a Career in IT. This program is designed to take beginner learners to job readiness in under 6 months. You can remotely work and do this. So when you're looking at like the coronavirus and stuff like that, this is going to be the future of the economy, where you could be working on a project or maintaining a server for someone from the comfort of your home remotely. You could be working, if you learn how to code and build applications, you could be working on, a project for someone who lives in Japan or who lives in China. You don't have to leave your home. This is why it's important that you start engaging things. 100% online courses, beginner level, right? Flexible schedule. Go and sign up for this stuff. And I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys. Go for free. You don't have to go to college and spend thousands of dollars to go and learn about IT and about computers and about technology and about coding and about computer science and about engineering. As I said to you the other day, you have the MIT OpenCourseWare. These are things that are free. These are things that are free that you can go and learn for free. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to look in the chat, take a few questions. I don't want to go too long because yesterday we went for almost 3 hours, and I'm definitely not going to do that. Real talk. I commented about you earlier in the video. I started looking into the whole Virgin Galactic thing. I don't really have a full grasp on it, so I don't like speaking about things that I don't really know about. So I promise you that I'm going to take the time out. Like, I started looking into it today. I'm going to take some more time out tomorrow and look into it, and I'll put together about like a 7 or 10 minute video, and I'll just upload it on the channel. But I don't want to speak about things that I don't really know about. And I just don't know too much about it. So that's why I'm not doing that at all. But the whole quantum computing thing, you don't know what you're talking about. It's quantum computing is nowhere near here. It's not scalable yet. They can't even solve basic tasks yet. Like it's solving problems that aren't really related to cracking codes and cracking websites and cracking algorithms and cracking SHA-256. It's just, I don't feel like having to pull up an article about that because that would be we'll be here all day long. Hey, I missed a grip of the live, but can someone give me a quick rundown as to why he believes the market is crashing? I'm not saying it isn't, legit asking. I just told you the market's crashing because of this. I spoke about that at the very beginning. The market is crashing. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 960 points today this morning and began to stage a strong rally. That rally unraveled on news that came out of the press conference held by California Governor Gavin Newsom. So go back to the beginning of the stream and I'll break down exactly why the market started crashing and why it will continue to crash. Because as of right now, the CDC didn't have adequate test kits for most states. And once the market realized that, how can you say cases are low if there's only 200 testing kits in the state of California and there's 40 million residents? So I would encourage you to. I'll put this in there. I'll put this in there so you can go and read it later. Bop, bop. And I did a video on the whole quantum computing thing a while ago too. I did a video on the whole quantum computing thing. I think that was with Phil Valentine. Let me post a link to that as well. I did that. I did for those of you who are interested in quantum computing, because I don't want to spend 15 minutes sitting here talking about quantum computing. That's not going to benefit anyone. So give me 1 second. Let me pull that up for you. I have a video breaking that down. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll put that in the chat so you can go. So if you're like interested about quantum computing and what it can do, where's the video at? There we go. Copy image. I briefly spoke about quantum computing in this video. I'm going to put it here for you guys. Paste. Damn. I agree. Programming is a tough subject. Wish my schooling system had taught me at a young age. No problem. It's extremely hard. Doing it online, I imagine, would be worse. I studied mechanical engineering before switching to finance. That's, again, the whole purpose is that it's not about whether or not you may like it or not like it, right? You have to get exposed to things. You don't know what you will or won't like unless you get exposure to it. You got exposed to it and you didn't like it. I got exposed to it and I loved it. Like, see, that's the beautiful thing about, life. Just because, it's hard for you doesn't mean it be hard for other people. But, why am I going to go to college and spend $40,000 a year and spend time, money, and resources on a subject that I may not like when I can go and learn that subject potentially for free? I mean, it makes more sense, guys. And especially when Google's giving you certificates or the ability to get the certification for free. Like, why not try it? So is the idea of America going to war out of the picture now? Who knows? That's the beautiful thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. You don't know either. We don't know. What we do know is that there's more risks on the table, right? And what I can guarantee you, the future is going to hold a lot of opportunity and a lot of difficulty. There isn't an easy answer for the pension crisis. There isn't an easy answer for the national debt. There isn't an easy answer for Social Security. There isn't an easy answer for income inequality. There isn't an easy answer for climate change and pandemics, right? There just isn't easy answers, right? Like there isn't easy answers across the board. And we know that this is going to create a lot of instability and volatility in markets, which is going to create a lot of opportunity. And like Chamath said, you want to have at least 1% of your net worth in Bitcoin. And any person viewing that would agree with that. And I want to play that clip right now for you guys. Some of you may have missed that the other day. Give me 1 second. Pull it up for you guys. Pull up the clip.
Hello, everybody.
No, I don't want him. I hate when people do that. Like, no one asked you to put your video up. So, and I'll definitely end the video there. Let's go to today. I see why I can't find it. Here we go.
What about crypto? Does that?
This is a really, really good video. And he summarizes everything that the way you should be looking at things.
Crypto? Does that ever become an actual means of transacting?
Yeah.
It does still. Can I say crypto? Am I allowed to say crypto? I hope I am allowed to say crypto. Can I bring it up?
I would really like Bloomberg to take this article that I wrote for them in 2013 out of their paywall. But basically, my view at the time, which I've held since today, haven't changed, is that everybody should probably have 1% of their assets in Bitcoin specifically.
Or crypto.
I still believe that today. And I think it is just a fantastic hedge. So if you go back to the conversation this morning, when you see the amount of leverage the financial industry is running, and you think about all these dislocations and all these exogenous things that are happening that you can't predict, there's a lot of risk to the downside. And it would be great that an average individual citizen of any country in the world has an uncorrelated hedge. And I've said this repeatedly ad nauseum on this show. Every financial instrument is correlated.
But Buffett,
it's all fake, except Bitcoin,
but Chamath,
which is
an uncorrelated hedge that Warren Buffett says has zero value, zero inherent value, unless someone pays more for it.
I think he's an exceptional person. I've learned an enormous amount, both from afar and the few interactions I've had with him. He is completely wrong and outdated on this.
Shouldn't the price have gone up during this coronavirus situation?
Greg, thanks for putting that out there, Greg. I read right there, it says enroll for free, and it starts $27. So let's look into what you were saying. Thanks for correcting that. If that's true, I don't know if that's true at all. What you just posted, Greg, it says that Google IT course is not free. You have to be a member of Coursera, and it's $3.99 a year. I'm just telling you, it says enroll for free. I don't know if you actually have to sign up for that, and thanks for putting that out there. I know for a fact this is free. So Greg is saying that it may not be free. Again, guys, this is why it's important for you to do your own due diligence. I'm just sharing to you what it says here, enroll for free. But even at $3.99, that's dirt cheap. But thank you for sharing that, Greg. I appreciate that. But again, even if this Coursera course isn't free, this Google IT course, this is for free, 1,000%. I can guarantee you that this course is for free, and I can guarantee you that this is for free. What I like to do is share information with you guys, and then you go and do your own due diligence. But again, if what Greg is saying is true, I don't know it because I haven't really went and looked at it. I just looked at the fact that it says enroll for free. Even at $3.99, it's a steal. For you to go and learn a new skill, for you to go and learn something that could potentially earn you money, that's the most important thing. If you're poor right now and you don't have a lot of money, investing's not going to make a lot of sense for you. It's just not. If you are, struggling right now, you shouldn't be buying gold and silver. You should not be buying crypto if you're poor. If you're a poor person, you should be investing in skills so that you can be more valuable in the marketplace is what you should be doing. So that's what I would encourage you to go out and do. Even at $399, I would rather spend $399 and go get this certification than spend $40,000 on a college degree. it doesn't make any sense for you to do that. And again, even if you don't have $3.99, as I said before, this open courseware right here is 100% free. This right here, you can go to MIT Open Courseware. I'm subscribed there, and you can go and you can learn about computer engineering. I mean, they have a ton of different courses on here for free. So I would definitely encourage you to go and do that. Somebody says, so is Coinbase... and Coursera has a lot of different courses on there across the board. So I would definitely encourage you guys to go and do that. And thank you for that correction, Greg. I appreciate it. Let's see what else we have in here. I do not know if Robinhood changed their policies, but you really don't even own the private keys. 100%, Jonathan D. I'm glad you said that. Guys, this is extremely important. This is the most important thing. In Bitcoin, we have a saying, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. You should not hold Bitcoin. You should not leave your Bitcoin sitting on any exchange. You should not have your Bitcoin sitting on any exchange whatsoever at all, guys. If you don't own the private keys, you don't own the cryptocurrency. If you don't own the private keys, you don't own the crypto. Get you a ledger. You can buy crypto on there. As soon as you buy your crypto, you need to make sure you are sending it to your ledger, your nano ledger, immediately. I cannot stress that to you enough. Exchanges get hacked all the time, and they lose people's crypto. I personally believe that they're just stealing people's crypto. But listen, I lost a lot of money leaving my crypto on Mt. Gox, and I took a sizable loss leaving crypto sitting on Mt. Gox years ago. I would be a multi-millionaire 50 times over. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. Copy. Let's paste that right here. Again, go and study the technology. Go and study the technology. It's really important that you know why you need a hardware wallet. What does a hardware wallet do, and how can the hardware wallet protect you, guys? This is extremely, extremely important. I don't think Robinhood allows you to transfer crypto just how you don't own the stock. You buy them from them. You don't own the crypto. It's a weird business model. Actually, Jonathan D., I'm going to have to disagree with you because not Robinhood. I'm thinking about Cash App. I was thinking about Cash App. You're right about Robinhood. I was thinking about Cash App because I know that a guy that I follow on YouTube, the Crypto Dad, he transfers crypto from Cash App. I was thinking about Cash App. I had Cash App and Robinhood confused. You're 100% correct. I would not trust any of that. I would not trust any exchange that makes you you don't actually own the crypto. It's just the paper version. But I understand why Robinhood would do that. Robinhood does that because some people, they just want to get the price gains, and they want to stay in fiat. They don't want to actually have the having to deal with transferring the Bitcoin to a wallet, because a lot of people, they don't understand the technology. So for people who want exposure to Bitcoin, but they don't want to have to hold the underlying asset, they buy it on Robinhood and they get the paper gains. So that's why they do it on Robinhood. I was confusing Robinhood with Cash App, but on Cash App, you can buy Bitcoin on Cash App and you can send it to your ledger. Guys, get your hands on a ledger. I can't stress this to you enough. Get your hands on a ledger. You don't have enough CPU power to compete with real miners. Yeah, you don't. Should I learn how to mine Bitcoin instead of investing? No, mining is useless unless you're running a major mining operation. It's just not profitable for everyday miners. It's just not worth it. Like mining right now. Let me show you what you're competing against. When you think about mining, I'll show you right now. Let's go. For example, like the mining. People have ASICs. You're just not going to be able to compete with most people who have large mining operations. Like, let me show you. This is what you'll be competing against. Bitcoin mining operation, a Bitcoin mining farm, right? Like, I just want to show you real quick, like the type of stuff that you would be competing with. Hold on. I want to pull up someone's video. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show, like, when you see some of these mining operations, you would never be able to compete with these people who mine. Let's see. Like, this entire building is set up to mine Bitcoin. This entire building. Like, it's just not worth. Maybe 7 years ago, it was worth mining Bitcoin. Now, I mean, there's other coins you can mine, like Raven Coin and Ethereum and stuff like that. But even then, the difficulty is difficult. There's some coins that only have GPU mining. But even then, it's like, this is an entire warehouse for mining. Now, I just picked this up because of this video, I won't get flagged for it. But there are people, they have this entire room filled with mining. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull it up for you guys. Let's see. I'm going to risk getting flagged for you guys because I want you to see this. This guy, he does really good. He does really, really good work on mining. All of this is mining. This entire thing is mining. Right? You trying to run your little GPUs, like, this is, you're competing with this. So, like, this entire facility is for mining. Look at this. All of this is mining. There are people who have $100 million setups for mining, like, literally, like, all of this is mining. So that's what you would be competing against if you wanted to go and try to do mining. And it's just not worth it. No, I did not. I was convinced it had no value, but now I'm thinking of the Bitcoin base perspective making me reconsider. Guys, there's no way you can say that Bitcoin doesn't have value when you see people spending, hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars of setting up these operations and stuff like this. If you've seen the level of development and the serious type of people that are investing into the crypto space, like, I talk to people that are putting millions of dollars into crypto. The type of intellectuals who have computer science backgrounds getting involved in the crypto space, it's like, it's an arms race, guys. This is the future. And I can't stress that enough to you. TD Hip Hop Media, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Guys, you have to understand, this is the future. Blockchain technology is the future. Cryptocurrencies is the future. And you're witnessing it right now. Like, you have the ability to invest in the internet and get educated about the internet before it becomes the next great thing. Think about it. Imagine if you knew how to build iOS apps back in 2010. You had a skill set that most people, they didn't have. So you had a market advantage over other market participants because you knew how to program and build apps, and most people didn't know how to do that. If you know how to program on Bitcoin or Solidity with Ethereum, like if you know scripting, guys, you're in demand in the marketplace. There's not a lot of people who know how to develop on the blockchain. There's not a lot of blockchain developers. Go and educate yourself about this technology. Real Talk says, is Ledger the only security measures to utilize crypto? For everyday regular people like you and I, a ledger is going to make the most amount of sense. There's more sophisticated ways that you can, secure your crypto. But again, for everyday people, a ledger is going to be the best way to go. Number one, a lot of these other measures, they're very clunky, and you can risk the potential of losing your crypto. A ledger is the best way to go. It's just the best way to go. There are much more technical ways you can go to storing your crypto and protecting your crypto. But again, guys, that's one of the downfalls of crypto, is that it's not user friendly for everyday people. It's not user friendly for people who really aren't that tech savvy, and that's what turns a lot of people off from it. But again, that's the value proposition. This is why we need people to get into crypto and develop, so that you can make more user-friendly wallets and you can make more user-friendly apps and dApps and things for people to use. There's so much opportunity here in the crypto space. Guys, you're looking at $160 billion market cap. I can't tell you guys how much opportunity is in the crypto space right now. Like, I talk to people, they're allocating 10 million, 15 million in this project and that project. There's so much opportunity in this space. This is why I promote things like this, and I keep pulling it up, because, getting into IT, getting into coding, getting into programming, getting into development, getting into hardware, hardware design, software engineering. There's just so much things that you can do. And if you get these skills before most people have them, these are skills that are in demand. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to probably wrap up the stream here. And again, I there's just so much with cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and technology that I could sit here and talk to you guys for hours, which is why I said that I'm thinking about putting together like a university, because there's just, this information needs to get out there and people explain it in different ways. And some people prefer this method and some people prefer a different method. So I hear Swift coding by Apple. Can you touch on Tether? I'm aware of the dangers and the issues, but I figured it may be a solid point to teach the subs about. Yeah, I definitely plan on. I'll touch on that tomorrow. I didn't want to keep the stream too long. We're already going on an hour and a half. So, because yesterday we did almost 3 hours. So I'm going to end the stream here so people can actually watch it. Because I know that if I do a 3-hour stream, people aren't going to watch it. But I will definitely touch on Tether around the next live stream. Real talk, as I said before, I promise you, thank you for the donation that you gave me yesterday. I'm going to do more research on the Virgin Galactic situation, and I'll probably do a live stream tomorrow for you guys if we see some sustained selling. I believe that we're going to probably see another 500 or 600 points come off the Dow, because no one's going to want to be long going into the weekend. So if that being said, I'll see you guys probably tomorrow if we see some selling in the market. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.